Welcome to today's stream. If everything is working, I think it's working. So welcome to the stream. Today we'll be doing an analysis of the major pairings. Oh, I hear myself. So both Bitcoin, I'm gonna do S&P as well. And leave some comments if you would like to have me do an analysis of a certain crypto or Forex or futures. I don't care, so whatever. Let me know in the comments, even if you're watching this later. Just leave a comment with what you're trading and what you would like me to analyze. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin. I always start at the higher time frame. So I'm going to start from the higher time frame and go to the day trading level eventually. And we'll also showcase some possible trading scenarios. Yeah, so this is very interesting on Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin. What you can see is this weekly supply zone based on this candle. So I've based it on this single candle here. It's a really important level as well. If you draw it back, you can see it became support over here. It was the point that brought you to the new all-time high. And then again, it formed the new all-time high again. So it's a very important level. It's the same level that we discussed last Friday, and we still were not able to gain it. So what I want to see to be really positive is this is your supply zone. So the top of this high, the high over here, I want to see a gain of this high. So that basically means that I want to see a candle that's closing above the level. So like this. So let's say this is the candle. It's creating this kind of candle and it's closing the candle above the level. Then it's a gain. If you see this, for example, so the candle is not closing above the level, then it's not a gain, then it's just a liquidity sweep. So it's just taking away all the liquidity above this level. So you really want to see a candle closing above it on a weekly time frame. So these are the, oh, this is not 50 minutes. These are the two demand zones that are very important. You could maybe even say like this zone based on this. Because I'm mainly using smart money concepts. That's what most people call it. I don't like to call it that way, but I use liquidity. I use supply and demand. I use support and resistance, structure, price action, like everything. Basically everything combined into one simple strategy. And all of my entries are placed on supply and demand. So it's relatively easy. Maybe sometimes you will think, what's he talking about? But you don't have to understand everything. As long as you just understand the principle of supply and demand and where to place your entry, that's fine. That's more than enough. Oh, all right. So these are the two zones at the weekly level. And what you see, I believe this was the case Friday as well. So now you see this rejection of this level, of this zone actually. And you can also see that we have lost the previous low. So it's kind of building a structure over here, like this. This is just like, I just draw this in, but this is the kind of structure that you're forming. And you can clearly see it's reversing. So it's reversing from an upward structure. So this was going upwards. It has a lot of momentum going up. Now it's rolling around. It's losing its low. Doesn't seem too strong to me. That's just a sign of weakness, a sign of a reversal. However, we still have really strong demand zones over here. So overall, I wouldn't be too negative about Bitcoin. Yeah, this is really important as well. This zone. Lots of volume here. This is basically the place where all of the volume in this whole range was. And then it formed a very good demand zone over here. So the scenarios that I'm waiting for, if we're just looking on the longer time frame, like the daily and the weekly, I'm waiting for either this to happen. So it's searching for this demand zone, for example. It's taking out all the liquidity, then going up again, and then possibly creating a really good trade scenario. Or it could even go down here, search for the liquidity that's in this zone, or maybe even below this, over here, or even over here, and then going up. That's a possible scenario. So look out for possible trades. Always be aware of possible trading scenarios. And the other scenario is that it would go up from here and then gain it, but I don't think it's too likely. It's now, yeah, it just has lost its low on the daily level. It's not a liquidity sweep. It hasn't taken out the liquidity to go up again. No, it clearly lost the level right now. So that's the big difference for people that are already trading using liquidity. If you're looking at the liquidity, for example, you want to make the distinction between a liquidity sweep, which is just a wick taking out all the liquidity, or actually losing the level. So now you actually lose the level by closing a candle below it. And that indicates a downward structure. That's not a liquidity sweep to go up again. And even on the weekly level, you can see it also closed this candle below the level. All right. Yeah, the 4 hourly. I mostly skip the 4 hour because it's pretty much the same as the daily most of the times. You can see the same kind of structure forming. There's not a lot of different things going on. You can see that there's a zone over here. Yeah, I believe I drew in this zone as well last Friday. But you don't even see this zone on the higher time frame. So I'm not sure. It could become a very good demand zone, but that's why you have to wait for the reaction. So don't place a trade right now, but wait for the market to take out the liquidity over here, and then you can enter. So then locally, you're searching for an entry after the reaction of the price. At least that's what I do. That's what I like to do. Otherwise, it's very risky because if you want to place a swing trade right now, like, are you going to place it on this one or on this one or on this one? Like, you don't know. And you basically have to gamble which of the three is the most likely to succeed. So I like to wait for the extra confirmation and the reaction. So if we look at the 1 hourly, I find this supply zone very interesting. And you can clearly see the interaction with that level as well. Or that zone, I must say. Sometimes I call it the level, sometimes the zone. Basically, when it's a very narrow zone, I like to call it a level. And I used to actually trade like this, so drawing like hard levels. But I don't do it anymore because if you want to see or spot support and resistance with a hard level, it will almost always go through the level or it won't really touch it. So I like to draw in zones. So marking up zones instead of placing hard levels, because I know a lot of you that are placing like support and resistance kind of trades there, that you're using these kind of lines. I like to use zones, but that's just my preference. What do I see more than this? Well, not too much. It's basically the same thing as Friday. Not too much has happened actually. You see this compression forming over here. And basically what that means, if you missed the last stream, compression means that it's very dangerous to now place a trade on it within this zone, because if you're placing a trade now, it's very likely in the matter of compression that it will shoot upwards or downwards. So it's basically just a gamble if it's going up or down. It's either going to search for the liquidity that's being created here, so it can go for the liquidity over here and then push down, or it can do the opposite, where all this liquidity has built up around the compression level, and then you go down, look for all the liquidity over there, and then you go up. So it's kind of risky to now place a long or a short trade based on this. But what you can do again is waiting for the breakout. So if you have this compression and you see that the price breaks out to the top, and it looks for liquidity, for example, then you see this. Well, then, this is not what I meant. Yeah, this tool works. It's just awful. But let's say it does something like this. So you see a liquidity sweep, so a wick looking for the liquidity, then it's losing the low, this low. Then you know that you can place a short. So you have all the confirmations. You have a liquidity sweep, you have lost your low, so you can look for a possible entry. So that could be here, for example. But we just have to await what's going to happen. Based on this, I would just not touch it. I would just wait. Volume is really low. It's getting really choppy, like choppy price action. So it's going up and down and up and down. And there's not a very clear structure. You can see that as well in all those crazy wicks like this. Like, are you going short or long here? It's not clear enough to me. But the volume has been really low on most pairings lately. So, yeah, the other pairings are mostly like this as well. Yeah, so again, like I can go to the 50 minutes to the day trading level, but it's the exact same story, because now you just want to wait for it to break out of this compression, and then you can enter along the momentum. So it's either going to build momentum upwards or downwards, and you want to wait for the momentum to be built up and then go along the momentum. That's what I like to do, because you can see it like this. For example, this was a really clear supply zone, so you could have placed your entry here. Maybe we even went through I believe we actually drew in this level in the stream. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this one. Last Friday, we drew in this zone, and then this demand zone as well. So you can see that both of them, I shared it on my Instagram then as well, they were mitigated perfectly. So you could have placed a short here and a long here. However, the risk reward was not perfect. Like, then it's going up, so you get stopped out on your short maybe, and then it's going down again. It's it's very choppy price action. It's not choosing a clear side. So you want to see, for example, that it's filling your short trade here, and then it's losing the level and building the structure downwards. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see it going up and down at the same time. But you could have made profits on those trades. I shared them in my stream last Friday. So if you paid attention, you could have made some good profits in the weekend. And by the way, I never share the exact trade because I don't want to. I want you to learn it yourself. But I do share the zones that I'm interested in. So basically, if you know like a simple thing about supply and demand, you will know where my entry probably is. But let's go to another pairing because, yeah, this is basically it. You can see, like here it was rejected again, and here it formed support again. So very important levels. It's creating the range high, so the upper part of the range and the lower part of the range over here. And now we just wait until it either breaks out to the upside or the downside. So like this. And then we'll leave it here for tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we'll see in the stream if it went up or down. And let's pick the S&P index for once, because I haven't analyzed this last Friday. And I haven't analyzed this personally as well. So I'm very curious to see what's going on here. I immediately see it. It's like kind of the same story on Bitcoin. It's creating this compression pattern, but here it looks to form more of a compression upwards. So you can see it's forming this compression upwards. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's more likely to go up. Generally, I would say it's more likely to go up from this compression, kind of forming this compression. Like if it forms this, it's more likely to go up most of the times. And if it forms this, for example, it's more likely to go down. However, you're not sure. So I would literally say it's still like 60% of chance of going up and 40% of going down. It's a small difference. So I would really await a reaction as well. But what you can see is this zone is now being mitigated. It's a very clear supply zone. I don't really see an imbalance here, so yeah, these were kind of trades that you could have placed, swing trades that were already mitigated. So, and mitigated basically means that it's been filled. So you have this empty space called an imbalance. I will make videos about this. And if it's filled up, you call it mitigated. So it's not an entry anymore. It's not an imbalance anymore. And that has happened here. But you do see this zone, like there's a small part still, small imbalance here, but yeah, it's not too amazing. Okay. Okay, so the interesting thing here is like locally, like after this high, you're building an upward structure here. So let's say we pick this as the first high, for example. Well, something like this probably. I'm just roughly drawing it in, but it's something like this. So you see an upward structure forming here. And now it's just the question, can it gain this supply level? Because it's a really important supply zone. Yeah, it's really uncertain. It's really uncertain what will happen. I would like to see it now gain this supply zone, and then it's probably going up very fast. So then it's probably mitigating the demand zone that's being created here and go up. So that's what you often see when it goes through a important zone. It will go up with a lot of momentum. because the volume has also been really low. And what you see, like we just discussed, when the volume is low, it's creating a compression pattern. And out of this compression, it just shoots up or down with a lot of momentum. So I think we will see some fireworks very soon. And you also have the news events, by the way. I believe they're... If you don't know this, you can basically... Where is it? Yeah, here. You can see in TradingView, over here, you can see the important news events. So like the inflation rate or the FOMC minutes, like, and you can even see what it means. So you can have a short summary of the important news events. All right. And going to the lower time frame, to me, doesn't make any sense because I'm not day trading the S&P. So yeah, again, I will draw it in for you. We want to either see this scenario and then look for a potential demand zone where we can take an entry or invest, because this would be longer term investing or swing trading. Or either lose. Yeah, I would see that it loses this whole low. So then I would wait until it loses this low, because then you clearly reverse the structure. Then it's a reversal. And then you can look for a potential supply zone to place a short. All right, so this will be the last one. It will be GBP. This is my main pairing that I like to trade, for day trading especially. Yeah, so kind of the same story as Bitcoin. And it was the same thing last Friday. So you haven't gained this high, but at the same time, on the daily level, it hasn't lost any important lows. So it can still build some, it can build some buying pressure here. It can look for liquidity like this and then sweep and then go up, for example. Or it can go down all the way here and look for this demand zone. Yeah, it's a really clear and important demand zone, by the way, because it formed the lower part of this range over here. That's very important to me. And here you saw it formed support and then resistance. So this is an important zone to keep in mind. It could be possible that it's going to look for buying pressure over here, look for liquidity, enough liquidity to go up again. But what you see very often is, I don't want to delete everything, is that it can either now gain it and then go up, or it can go down and it will just look for buying pressure here. And it will take quite some time before it's going up again. So most of the times you want to see like a very strong gain right away, or if it cannot gain the level or the previous high, then it will take quite some time. It needs to look for buying pressure, look for liquidity, kind of gather this liquidity zone and gather this buying pressure to go up again, because that's the fuel to go up. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the 1 hour, because here you can see the downward structure. So on the day trading level, I'm more interested in shorts than longs, because for example, if you start here with the structure, so something like this. So it's losing these lows. It's creating lower highs as well now. And now this is your high. So this is the high on the 1 hour time frame that you need to keep in mind. I'm looking for this. Yeah. So this is your high. And this is your low. And you can see that this zone was mitigated very well. However, I personally don't think it has enough liquidity to go down and lose this level. That's why I'm very interested in this supply zone. Because this supply zone, it's a very clear supply zone. So it's a very clear supply zone. It forms some really good confirmations if you draw back the zone in the past. Like you can see the resistance here. You can see it from the resistance here as well. And it's the most defensive supply zone within your current range, because now this is the range between the high and the low. And this is your previous high. So it's the most defensive supply zone, and it's very close to your high, which to me is perfect. So I like to go for the most defensive supply or demand zones for my entry. So I really like this supply zone. And I think there's a lot of liquidity still that has to be filled up. I don't think this was a really strong zone to push it down, because there was nothing below it. So what I like to see when I, for example, see this. So I like to see this, for example. So you have one supply zone, but you also have a more defensive supply zone. And the most traders are going for the most aggressive supply zone over here. But that means there's a lot of liquidity here. And what you see very often is the market is going to look for that liquidity. So it's moving beyond the first supply zone to look for all those stop losses, all the liquidity. And the banks and the funds are actually here. And they know this. They know that they have to go for the most defensive supply zone. So then this will actually be the extreme supply zone that moves the price down. And all of this will be very clear in the upcoming videos. So I will take my time to make very clear and understandable videos about this. So it doesn't matter how experienced you are. I'm going to make them very simple and very simplified, so you know exactly what I'm showing you. So yeah, that's it for now. On the 50 minutes, no, I don't really see an entry anywhere. This was your entry on the 50 minutes. This is more of a 1 hour entry that's still open. And I don't see any possible long trades, because then you're trading against the structure as well. And what I did see on the 1 minute, by the way, but it's like on the very low time frame, the 1 minute. I believe it was here. Yeah, so when there was a kind of, I believe there was a zone that it was touching. So I saw this entry, which I missed. It's painful. Yeah, it was a really good entry. And then there was also, let's see. Yeah, this entry as well. Another perfect entry that I missed. And then it formed this entry, which I also missed. And now I saw this entry over here, which I actually placed in my MetaTrader, but the price went up so much that, look at this. Yeah, I'm not going to catch this knife. That's catching a falling knife. That's a saying in trading. So you don't want to catch such a high price with a small trade like this, because then you probably want your stop loss to be really wide. So My stop loss was something like this, I think. I don't know anymore, but the entry was here. So this is the entry. But then you need a stop loss at least like this if you want to place this trade, because it's already so high. So I canceled this order. I'm not going to place this trade anymore. There were 2 amazing trades that I missed, and the third one, unfortunately, it's not a good trade anymore. So, yeah, let's wrap it up. This was the stream. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment if you want to see me analyze anything, or if you have any feedback on how to do these kind of streams. I will be streaming every single weekday on the same time. So I believe it's 2 p.m. GMT time. I will look it up because it's 4 p.m. at the Dutch time, where I live in the Netherlands. So I believe it's I believe it's 2 p.m. GMT. And I have something else very interesting to announce, and you will see it very soon on the channel. I will just I've made a very premium course about crypto and Forex trading using SMC, liquidity, supply and demand, price action, basically everything you need to know. And I have decided to share it completely for free on YouTube. So I will remake those videos from my course. I used to sell it for more than $3,000. But I've decided that I don't want to earn any money from selling a course. So I will put the course on YouTube. I will make the videos again because they were in Dutch. So now I'm making them in English, and the whole course will be completely free on YouTube. So subscribe if you want to see those videos, because then you literally have a course telling you exactly what to do, everything you need to know about SMC, liquidity, price action. So I will upload those videos in the playlist. Subscribe if you want to see them. And yeah, thanks for watching the stream. And please leave a like. It helps the algorithm. And I will see you tomorrow.